Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the night, if that's when you're listening to this. It's about 10:43 a.m. It is June 2nd, 2023. And I'm just kind of feeling like in a reflective mood. I guess if you could say that's a mood, I would say, I'm in reflection mode this morning. And I wanted to share some of my thoughts with you. A lot of it has to do with what's happening to me right now on social media and just kind of like where I'm at in my life. I have a birthday coming up next month. My birthday's actually the 4th of July. I always say, how ironic. I don't know if that's like ironic. It's really the correct word either, but I don't know. I think it kind of symbolizes something, the 4th of July, an American holiday, our independence. Being independent is, it's really important to me. Being independent, being an independent thinker. Freedom of speech. Unalienable rights, the rights of being a human being. Like when I think about America's, greatest achievements, it's that. It's the unalienable rights. It's the Declaration of Independence. Beautiful words, beautiful document. Like I feel it in my heart. So I'm gonna probably I try not to do copyrighted material on my channel. Hopefully this probably, I'm not going to be able to monetize this by reflection. But I want to, and hopefully, if it does, like the music that I'm playing right now, if it does cause me to not be able to reach a certain audience, then I'll probably cut it out and or re-upload on Twitter, or maybe I will on YouTube cut the portion out so that it doesn't stop the reach of this video. But there's a song, and I've always liked it. It's by Gnarls Barkley, and I'm gonna play just a snippet of it because probably when you listen to it, you're gonna identify with it. So let me play just a little bit of it here. Probably, you might, recognize that tune. Okay. Now, there's a band called Nothing But the Thieves, and my roommate turned me on to them, and she goes, "Oh, this song by Gnarls Barkley?" And then at first I was like, "What?" And then she played it for me. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know that song." Well, they did a cover of it. It's a lot slower. It's slowed down, but I want to play that because some of the words in this song are kind of in a way, it kind of reflects a little bit of what I've been going through the last couple of weeks, because the online harassment really just amped up really hard. I mean, I thought that I had gotten a lot of flack over the last few years, like 6 years or so, right? But it can't get worse than this. But it really just super amped up. And so I don't know, for some reason I've been playing this song. It's been kind of cathartic to me in this version. So I'm going to play it for you for a second because I don't want it to go to the next song. I mean, another copyright, right? But, sometimes some mornings you just got to, screw the copyright. I want to share something with you. I want to share just my reflection of my thoughts on some of the things that have been happening to me. You know, if you've been looking at my Twitter, I'm really not talking about the individuals right now that it's happening with on YouTube. So I won't be, right? But I think it's okay to share how things affect you and share your experience about it. Especially on YouTube, I'm pretty sure that they're probably going to take this and twist it around and make it sound like something that it isn't. And you know what? I can't, I can't be silent because I'm afraid of how you're going to chop it up or your rebuttal on anything that I'm going to say in the stream. But actually, it's not about you, okay? So it's about, my experience or how I feel about what's happening. And last I checked, being that, I was born on the 4th of July and there's independence, I believe that I'm legally allowed to express that in like whatever form it might take. It could be a poem, a short story, a comedy routine, a live stream, a podcast. I'm pretty sure that whether you like it or not, you like the material, whether you agree with me, whether it, you comprehend it, whatever anybody's opinion on that is irrelevant to my right to express myself. So, that being said, I just want to talk about bullying in general and, just almost like look at it from, a human level. Like, how many movies do we see where there's this elite or special group in high school or these, I don't know, socially, physically deemed superior types of people, whether they come from, rich families or whatever, but there's a stereotype. You know what I'm talking about? Because we watch movie after movie after movie after movie with these same characters, these same tropes that we're constantly looking at. And it feels like, okay, so there's those people and there's like the geeky science people and then there's like, the completely social misfits and, whatever. And you can even put like, and then the gay kids, that were made fun of and this and that. The people that don't fit, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, or whatever, the little box, the square that, somehow, somewhere in our consciousness, we're told that we're supposed to conform to. And so I'm going to be really frank with you. I have felt pretty much my whole life that I'm a little different. And I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure exactly what that difference is. I mean, I can, take a stab in the dark and, say certain things, but, I'm that girl that liked to dress the way she wanted to, maybe even sometimes I think I was ahead of the trend. Like, it's almost like I did things that ended up becoming fashion afterwards. And I'm like, oh, bullshit. But it was kind of true. But having that or being that way or saying, I'm going to wear whatever I want, I don't have to conform to you. Like, I don't want to walk in the room and be dressed just the same as you are. I think I want to do my hair like this, or I want to look like this, or this is fun to me. And I think that was like, what is that? Like, I used to get all these, cards from my mom, and about like how there'd be like little girls dancing ballet and there'll be one turned around in the other direction. And that would be like me. Like, I'm the person that did something that didn't conform to what the group was told to do. And I don't know what that is really exactly, but I can't seem to do anything but that. I don't really like conforming very much. And, a lot of times, like, I have to admit, I've bought into ideals. I bought into belief systems that I thought were real. And then I realized, well, this really doesn't work for me. Or why do I think this way? Or however. And when I was growing up, I guess around 5th grade, first of all, let me start with this. I have scoliosis, which is the spinal curvature, and it's idiopathic scoliosis. And I was diagnosed when I was 9. And so I had to wear a back brace that had a thing that came all the way up to my neck, my chin. Up until then, I was, I fit in with everybody else, but all of a sudden I had this thing that made me look like I was disabled. They used to have it, they called it a different word back then. But I could take the brace off for an hour a day. I had the S curve. I went swimming a lot. I used to have really long, dark, black, thick hair. And, I used to be called, I was the girl with the long, dark hair. My hair was dark, really, really dark. And I think as a child, most of my friends had lighter hair, didn't have the sort of the dark features that I did with the eyebrows. And my skin was light. My eyes are hazel, but my hair was very, very dark. And that's because I'm half Latino, And that kind of, I think, made me a little bit different in school as well. At that time, because we didn't have the equity and everything else that we have now. So I got made fun of a lot. I got made fun of for the brace. They called me flatback. I was awful at sports. I have anxiety in playing any type of sports because I'm just horrible at it. Just horrible. I was for when we would be out playing baseball and we were way, way out there, I go, please God, don't let the ball come to me. Please don't let the ball come to me, please. Because I was afraid to even attempt to try to grab it because I believed that I wasn't going to be able to. And when I went to go play kickball, everybody came up, to when they know that you're going to kick really far, everybody goes really far out because they know that you're a good kicker. But when you're a bad kicker, everybody comes up to the plate, man. Well, I was that person. When they went to pick teams, it was me and this guy named John Birch. And John Birch bit his nails. And I think he was in 3rd grade, but should have been in the 6th grade. Okay. And they were like, well, the teams are deciding who's going to take the 2 gimps. Was it going to be, John Birch, or it was going to be me with my back brace? And they took John Birch. Okay. I was the bottom of the barrel of kids that did not fit in that class. All right. And when I was in class, and I said, they go, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I go, I want to be an actress. And everybody laughed at me. There were a lot of days where I put my head down on my desk and I cried in class. Academically, I was very strong, and that made it even worse because I was the smart kid who had really acute allergies and always had a Kleenex in my hand. I was wearing the back brace, and I was teachers' pets. And I was expected to deliver academically. And if I didn't, I got shamed. So, or at least my perception was that was going to happen to me. Or my grandmother, whom I love my grandmother, but I went to the same elementary school that my grandmother taught at. And my mother was a teacher. and I was a firstborn. And when you're firstborn, it's like, you know, everybody fusses over you. It's like, yeah, it's like you're their first baby, you know, first grandchild, the first. And, you know, if I didn't do what they expect me to be able to do, they were going to come down on me. And they did. If I, you know, I slipped up a few times when they got too active in doing plays and stuff. And I, you know, my mom told me that in high school, she says, if your grades drop, I will pull you out of that play. I do not even care if it's opening night. You will not be performing, or something like that, right? And I remember like looking at her. She's like I see her in the doorway of, you know, our home, and I was like, that's not happening. In my head, I'm like, you will not pull me out of that show, because I was not going to allow. I was going to make sure that my grades were perfect. Notice how I say that word perfect. You know what I mean? Like I was going, I'm like, I'll show you. I'll star in those shows, and I will have, like, I'll be on the dean's list. And I was. See? So, I saw myself, you know, you know, what happens with that is when you have people picking on you and this and that, I saw myself as like my accomplishments were wrapped up in my academia and my performance. Because I started doing funny poems. I started doing the Peach Blossom Festival, and I competed. And I competed in the spelling bee, and, you know, I wrote long stories, you know, like we'd have creative writing assignments, and, you know, I would go home and write 21 pages, and, you know, then my teacher would have me read my stories to the class. Like, that's where I felt that, first of all, I had a passion for it, but I felt that I could do. That came easy. It wasn't like, I didn't struggle like I did with kickball, you know. But I had a time when I was in 5th grade where there was a girl, her name was Elizabeth Whitfield, and she was Black, and I was friends with her. I could go more into like how my mom was a teacher, and at the time the schools were segregated, and she taught at an all-Black elementary school. And so we went to the class functions and stuff like that. So I, believe it or not, I feel like I was integrated into Black culture as a child. You know, like I saw the moonwalk happen before Michael Jackson did it. Like that was nothing new. Like when I saw Michael Jackson do it, I go, we just saw that at the talent show, you know, in 6th grade. You know, I saw it, you know, it's like, what? Like, you know, my mom had, you know, we listened to R&B. I grew up listening to Earth, Wind and Fire and Stevie Wonder and Billy Preston and Ohio Players. And, you know, I mean, we listened to funk, you know, in my house, among other types of music, but we just did. And then Barbra Streisand and Burt Bacharach. Okay, yeah. Oh, and Johnny Mathis. My mom loved Johnny Mathis. I saw Adam Sandler came out and said something about his mom, because my mom, you know, when I was growing up, she you know, I grew up listening to Johnny Mathis and Barbra Streisand. I'm like, oh my God, that's like my mom. Burt Bacharach. But we also had Earth, Wind and Fire. I loved her. I love Earth, Wind and Fire. I just love them. Sly and the Family Stone, another great band. You know, Pointer Sisters, you know, like when I graduated, it was like, we are family, you know, that song. And then there's Queen, you know, but Queen was more like my generation, like Queen, you know, like when we went to the rallies, you know, in high school, it was like, we will rock you, you know, like da-da-da-da-da-da. Like the pep girls would come out. I mean, I was part of it. I was a cheerleader then. Yes, I did become a cheerleader, but I was in a body cast at the same time, so I always had to be the T. No, I did. I had surgery. Because of the scoliosis, I had, a metal rod on my back, and, my spine was fused, and I was in the body cast. And I was like outcasted from the cheerleaders. Even then, even when I go, I made it. I'm a cheerleader now. I'm in with the people that fit, and they still toss me to the side. When I got on the cheerleader squad, it was like, my feedback that I heard was like, how did the drama girl get on the cheerleader squad? Ew! I don't think they did the ew at the end, but. And the cheerleaders, they had this laugh. There's, how there's like one person that has a certain laugh, and then everybody laughs like them, and they all do it together. And it was like, so they would all one person, I think Cammie Everett was the person who had the laugh, but then Cheryl O'Neal did it with her, and then there was one of the other girls did it a little bit, and it was like, it was like that, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so weird how people do that. Or a group will, have their own little phrase like, oops, sorry. I mean, when I was in college, it was like in the drama department in college, we were doing all the places like that. We go, oops, sorry. Oops, sorry. Oops, sorry. It's kind of, thing. But being, my friend Elizabeth Whitley that was Black, she said, can you want to walk home with me? And I said, sure. And then another girl named Jackie Amberdisi came up, and she goes, you want to walk home with me? And I go, I'm walking home with Elizabeth. Can she join us? She goes, no, she can't. And I go, why? And she goes, because she's Black. And if she comes around our house, my dad won't like it. And I said, well, I'm going to walk home with Elizabeth then, because she asked me, and I'm going to walk home with her. And because I did that one action, and then I told Elizabeth about it on the way home, a gang of girls picked on me relentlessly. And then the whole class joined in with them. And I was completely laughed at and made fun of. And, it came to the principal was talked about it. Eventually, they would, I was in Campfire Girls, and I would be going to our, the house where we have our meeting, and then they would be all in the bushes, and they'd come around, they would circle up me, and they would push me. And then one day, Mrs. Hohweiler was that teacher that didn't shave her armpits, So when she wore her little cap sleeve, she'd raise her arm, and then we'd all go, ew. Everyone was looking at we knew she didn't shave her armpits. Right? So Mrs. Hohweiler is one day early in the morning in class, this one girl, her name was Karen, and she was they were on me again right in the morning, the teacher wasn't even there yet. And she's sitting there, and she's doing saying whatever. And I just got sick of it. I just couldn't take it anymore. So I pushed her. I wasn't ever a physically violent person. I usually just took it. They pushed me, and I never pushed back. This one day I just fuck that, I just pushed her, And then she came back, and she started smacking me, and she started hitting me, and we started getting into a fight. And I think I hit her by maybe another time. I was fending her off, hit her a couple of times, whatever we got. Went to the office, and the principal, Mr. Stafford, I'm really, Terry, I'm really surprised, because everybody was disappointed in me, because we thought better of you. We thought that you would just shut your mouth and take it. Take it like the big girl that you are. and take the higher road. We're not going to do anything about what they're doing to you, though. We're not going to punish them. We're not going to talk to the teacher. We're going to allow it to continue because you're the girl in the back brace and you walked home with a black girl, and we don't like that here. But we're really going to judge you because you hit back. And then when I got in class, Mrs. Hohweiler, said, well, she let everybody know the one person that got chastised was me. Terry, I would have thought better of you than that. And then I just slumped down and put my head underneath my book and down, and I cried. I'm 60 years old, and I can go to that memory and remember how it made me feel, like even today. That experience turned me into a people pleaser. At some point, I kind of got the combination right, and I was able to fit in to some degree. Very popular. I've been very popular in certain circles. I mean, more than circles. When I was in my 30s, I was like, oh, I was the person that they were waiting to show up to come to the party because I was that girl. I was fun. Had life, joy, dance, doing shows, performing. I had this hanging out. I hung out with so many different demographics of people, from the Pasadena JCs to Caltech to artists, musicians, actors, comedians, famous comedians. Oh, my phone's ringing. Hold on. Hi, did you get everything straightened out?
No. I called them and they were going to